Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine, round 8 here at Monza. The Temple of Speed set to take us round in race 2 this time around. Circuit length of 5.793 kilometres, 3.6 miles, 11 turns await the drivers once again. And after an astounding race yesterday, which would lead to the race not necessarily being over after the checkered flag, we had driver after driver with stewards' notices popping up, and it was certainly a busy night for everybody involved in the championship, and a plethora of penalties would soon follow. And while Andrea Kimi Antonelli crossed the line in his home race this weekend, he's on pole this time, had the win taken away from him yesterday after utilising the push to pass just too early, and was cautioned with a 10-second penalty, and therefore will have to go looking for that race win here at Monza this time around. But he's joined on the front row by always a stellar qualifier, Santiago Ramos, fastest of his group in Group B. And the Mexican is going to be looking to try and bring his best yet again. Tim Tramnitz, who was fighting it out with Antonelli towards the end of qualifying earlier on this morning. It was a very early start, 8:30 we got underway here at Monza. But the German Tim Tramnitz really brought his best. Rafael Camara be hoping for a better day today after coming to a standstill yesterday after achieving pole. Wasn't able to execute though and take a race win. It would mean that he would unfortunately forfeit down the grid and end up bringing the car back in after having a serious electrical problem. Roman Belinsky, what a qualifying session from the pole. A stellar showing, and he had a tough day yesterday but brought it all back. And has now since then seen himself up at the sharp end. And how about this for a debutant? Noah Stromstead, everybody, joining the RPM team for this round here at Monza, who has competed at the very top of Danish F4, was runner-up in that championship. He's got Joshua Dirksen for company, the Paraguayan, back again. Remember, podium sitter back at Spa-Francorchamps. Lorenzo Flusha returns as well, 8th fastest. All three Prema cars currently sat in the top 8. And looking to once again hit the top as they've done so on so many occasions prior here at Monza. A very important round for this team. But the spectators sitting out in the grandstands as we get set to go racing once again this afternoon. And we've got to talk about some of those penalties as well, because obviously the complexion changed dramatically after the end of yesterday's race. And we'll go back to looking at Antonelli. Instantly, the stewards then were given notice that he utilised the push to pass before he should have done. That then led to him receiving a 10-second time penalty, dropping him off the podium. And certainly wasn't an ideal visit for him whatsoever. But we'll have another chance to repair the damage this time around. It's the first time he's failed to score since race 2 back at Imola. Here's the grid. Andrea Kimi Antonelli on pole with Santiago Ramos in 2nd. Tim Tramnitz in 3rd. Rafael Camara starts 4th. P5, of course, goes to that of Roman Belinsky, who'll be lining up alongside debutant Noah Stromstead, who's part of the RPM team. Joshua Dirksen for Arden Motorsport. Lorenzo Flusha representing the Prema team. P9 goes to Lawrence van Hoopen for ART. Maya Verg, the Ferrari Academy driver, in P10. Martinia Stenshawn in 11th, with Owen Tangavu lining up in 12th place for the Trident team. They had a very good qualifying session this morning. P13 goes to Kaz Havercourt and Van Amersfoort, looking to recover after sustaining a puncture in yesterday's race. Hadrian David returns to a race track that he has won at in this championship, 14th, Nikhil Bora 15th, and Marcus Amond in 16th. Alessandro Giusti, yesterday's race winner, his 3rd race win in the last 3 rounds. Sami Megatunov in 18th, recovering after the grid spot penalty. Matteo Capietto in 19th, Victor Bernier then further down in 20th. Timotush Kukarczyk, unfortunately, who came under pressure in qualifying after stalling the car coming through the curve. Alboreto, Emerson Fittipaldi Jr. 22nd, Piero Alexandra Provost then in behind those. And then further down, of course, we had Tom Leben in 25th, Michael Belov in 26th place, Esteban Masson in 27th, and 28th going to Ivan Klemenko further back as well. William Carlson in 29th, Niels Kuhlen 30th, Matthias Agazetta 31st, with Giovanni Maschio in 32nd place. 33rd goes to Enzo Scianti, and Laventia Ravesh lines up at the tail of the field in 34th place. So there we have it. Those are the drivers that are going to be making their way around the track. Of course, we'll go back and allude to some of the others as well. We missed out Jesse Carrasquedo, of course, starting 24th on the grid, alongside that of Pierre-Alexandre Prevost. And we'll go through again those penalties because, of course, we alluded to that of Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Marcus Amand also receiving a 10-second time penalty. It was due to an incident with Michael Belov, but not the one you might be thinking about. It wasn't the incident heading through the Rogier chicane. There was a moment where he pushed Michael Belov onto the grass that led to him receiving that penalty. And of course, I think it was the crux that eventually led to what happened down at the Rogier chicane, where the big incident would certainly occur, but very much a fixture in all its parts. But unfortunately for Marcus Amand, losing out due to that 10-second time penalty, and what could have been a Cinderella story for him, certainly turned slightly more pale. But this time around has a great chance. Didn't qualify badly whatsoever. Currently sat on row 8 and has every chance to deliver this time around, starting in grid position 16th. And he'll be joined alongside that of Nikhil Bora for the Trident team, who, as I've said, qualified very well this morning. This time around, it was Roman Belinsky who pretty much led them to a superb visit here at Monza. We'll have a little bit of work to do in this race, no less. Other time penalties that we saw as well. Ivan Klemenko got 10 seconds, Enzo Scianti, Santiago Ramos. And I think he'll be delighted that he didn't sustain necessarily a grid penalty that would factor into today's race, because being on the front row is so vital here at Monza. But in terms of those grid place penalties, we of course have got Hadrian David, who had a +4 place penalty. Sami Megatunif after the major crash at turn 1, where he pretty much ended Matteo Capietto, and also that of Tim Tramnitz's race, 5-place grid penalty for him. Giovanni Maschio also receiving a +4 grid penalty. So Alessandro Giusti, whilst he's not at the front end on this occasion, will have a little bit of work to do from where he starts, but managed to notch together with the win yesterday that was decided in the stewards' room. 3 wins in his last 3 rounds here in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. And with the way this young man's going, he's got a bright future ahead of him. But the big news out of that fracas was, of course, that of Martinius Stenshorn, who is fighting this man, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, for the title this season. And whilst it looked like Antonelli tightened his grip on the championship, with that 10-second time penalty, it obscured the dream, at least for that moment. Certainly the Monza winning dream here in the Formula Regional Championship, as now we see Antonelli line up in his grid spot. Pole position for the Italian, much to the delight of the Italian fans here in the paddock, who were queuing up outside to see him after he managed to qualify it on pole. Very much a popular talent, a popular face in the paddock as well, with legions of fans that come and watch him round after round. The rest of the grid will now line up in behind. Can Santiago Ramos get a big launch off the line? They've come close before to big results. They are podium achievers. Keith Donegan has done a fantastic job with this team. Noah Stromstead looks like a revelation at this point, starting from where he is on the 3rd row of the grid, alongside Roman Belinsky. Sit tight, everyone. Hold on to your hats. You're going to be in for a real treat as we await for the rest of the cars to line up at the tail of the field. The pace car will line up in behind, and then the marshals will harness the green flags, and we'll be putting pedal to the metal for the final time here in round 8. Monza teeing up the final 2 rounds after this one. A trip to Zandvoort and Hockenheim Ring as the green flags get waved. Here come the lights. 3rd light, 4th light, and the 5th light. And it's pedal to the metal. And it is go, 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 go. Andrea Kimi Antonelli with a great start. Tim Tramnitz in behind, also getting the leap of his life. A great start, I think, for Ruben Belinsky as well, who hovers in behind. Noah Stromstead, though, got his number. Heading in towards turn 1. A lock up there, though, from Antonelli. We just saw the smoke lifting off the tyre. Santiago Ramos going defensive. Cars queuing up and taking the escape road as they make their way through turn 1. A plethora of them, in fact, as they now look to circulate around the Curva Grande. And look at that, Stromstead. I think he might have got Tramnitz as well. Further back, we got the MP Motorsport cars dueling it out there. there with the RPMs as they head down now into the Rogers chicane. There you can see, all in tandem. Santiago Ramos, a big squeeze there with Rafael Camara, who has to take the escape road off at the Rogier, coming out of turn 5 now, and it's still, though, a Prema car out in front. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, a puff of dust up in the background as cars start scooting over the gravel. No cars buried in it, though. They all safely run through the first Lesmo. Still battling it out, though. You can see there Nikhil Bora, Owen Tangavellu right in the mix there too, as they head down the Seraglio straight. The Trident's under pressure. In comes as well car number 85 of Matteo Capietto, looking to try and strike something out here at this point now, as we can see also Lorenzo Flusha, who's had a fantastic start in his own right, 7th fastest, and trying to challenge, takes the outside through Ascari chicane. Lorenzo Flusha with a beautiful move and surpasses that of Noah Stromstead, who has been impressive all weekend. Brand new rookie to this championship and representing the RPM team well. There's a car in the background just dipping off into the grass, could be a G4 racing car, as they make their way through a lockup again this time around as they make their way around, and Flusha once again trying to bring the fight this time to RPM team. And as they make their way down now, once again, he's going to go side by side still here with Noah Stromstead, who refuses to give up here. The tenacity in this young rookie, it's absolutely sensational. And again, switching to the outside, a very dynamic play here from that of Noah Stromstead. They head through towards turn 1 and 2. He takes the escape though, leaves it late, locks up, contact. Oh, Joshua Dirksen coming together. I think it was Martinius Stenshorn, who he came close with, just got in tight heading out of turn 1 and turn 2. And now it looks like the R-Race GP car, if it is him, is in a little bit of trouble. I'm just looking on my screens now to see whether we can find out if that was. It might have been an ART. I'm just trying to see on my screen here. We just did not quite catch the car as he went through, but it definitely was Joshua Dirksen who was unfortunately exposed off that. It might have been Lawrence Van Hoopen, incidentally, because he is in fact losing time here on Lorenzo Flusha. 4 seconds the gap here from the lead, and a whole near second in between that of Van Hoopen and Flusha. So it looks like it could have been Lawrence Van Hoopen who might have come together with Joshua Dirksen, who's out of the car. And there we have it, a safety car out already. The front wing is clearly damaged. And an unfortunate end to Joshua Dirksen's weekend. He did not do a bad job in qualifying. Was right in the mix of it, and unfortunately, this time around on lap 2, we'll have a look at the moment again, and this will clarify the issues. There were cars flying off everywhere, very similar to what we saw yesterday. And yes, I think it's pretty clear. Coming around, I think I was right the first time actually. Car number 34. Yes. Wow, we are coming together. It was Stenshorn. We were right the first time. Lawrence Van Hoopen managed to get the move done on him, heading through the Curva Grande. So Martinius Stenshorn has received damage. Now this is not good for the championship for Martinius Stenshorn, because Andrea Kimi Antonelli is leading the race. Stenshorn now at the very tail of the field will not be scoring any points unless he can get himself back into the top 10. He battled against adversity yesterday to claim that P3, but as he comes into the pits, I'm looking out my commentary box window, Martinius Stenshorn in real jeopardy here, and the points bracket could switch the other way now. 25 points should Antonelli bring this one home, as we now see Stenshorn having the necessary checks given by the R-Race GP team. It's been a phenomenal season already for Martinius Stenshorn. He has been a revelation. A rookie that has come in this season, leads the rookie standings by a convincing margin. May as well call him the rookie champion at this point as well, with 2 rounds still to go after this one. But Andrea Kimi Antonelli is not going to be too upset about this situation right now. Top of the tree, leads the way here in race 2, as we now cross into the final 25-minute mark, plus 1 lap. In behind, Santiago Ramos having a good start too, and could be on course to perhaps securing their best result so far this season. Roman Belinsky, how about this? 3rd place now. Has lifted himself higher and higher and has responded brilliantly to yesterday's race. He had a tough day at the office. He made no illusions about it, but it's how you rise from adversity. That's what defines you as a driver. And Roman Belinsky Certainly giving that impression right now. The safety car not remaining out on track too long. It is coming in this lap. Race control have given us confirmation. You can see at the bottom left of your screen, folks. Current track temperature sits at 37.6, which is far and above where we were this morning in qualifying, as you'd expect. Obviously colder conditions in the early hours. The sun has since come out, and we've now seen the humidity has pretty much stayed the same. The air temperature now at 25.5. As the cars come through Ascari once again. Fascinating encounter here at Monza with Antonelli on course to perhaps reclaim a race victory at his home circuit of Monza. We allude back to his last visit to an Italian track. Remember the Mugello, the majestic trip to Mugello where he took P2 and P1. His strongest weekend in this championship so far this season. And I'm sure would love to add a race win here at Monza. Every driver wants to win here. They call it the Temple of Speed for a reason. Home of the Formula One Italian Grand Prix. And just like he did yesterday, Andrea Kimi Antonelli getting them off already, heading through towards the Curb Alboreto. And Belinsky, I think, might have got a better run at this as well than that of Santiago Ramos, coming through the final corner now. And they'll soon make their way down the straight once again. 23 minutes still to go, and now the green flags wave. They hit pedal to the metal for the second time in this race now. Down the long straight they go. Andrea Kimi Antonelli leads the way. Ramos in second. He goes defensive. Belinsky there in behind now. Looks to the outside. Switches to the inside straight away as well. Looks for the move into turn one. Does he go in deep? Does he go in tight? Ramos is round. Belinsky avoids him. Looks like it might have been a little bit of oversteer, I'm not quite sure, but Ramos again, the luck not conforming here in race trim. I think he hung it around the outside. I wasn't sure if there was contact between him and Belinsky, but as far as I could see, it was minimal, if anything. Of course, we'll have to take a look at a replay to see if there was, but Belinsky, as a consequence, now comes in second. We got Kamara in third. Look at the bounce back after the disappointment from yesterday. Tim Tramnitz in fourth. Look at this from that of Sami Megatunif, who's trying to fight his way through the field and trying to battle past Meyer Berg. There's a kick up of dust once again coming out of the Rogier chicane. Santalot cars trying to breeze past that of Marcus Amand, the Sauber Academy driver, going ultra defensive, near enough 3 wide, heading in towards Lesmo too. It's kicking off. I tell you what, drama here. Let's take a look at the replay. They came into, oh, I think there was a touch to the rear left. We need a different angle, really. Here it is. Yes, I think there was the slightest touch. Maybe ran in deep. Stewards might be taking a little look at that one, but we'll have to wait and see. Big shame, though. Very unfortunate for Belinsky, but we'll have to wait and see. Nothing certain just yet. It was essentially a big battle for that P2 places. Points are on the table. As now Kamara hunts down the inside of Belinsky this time. Battle for P2 in the podium places with Tramnitz in fourth. Lorenzo Flusha. As now here comes Rafael Kamara, pole sitter yesterday, now takes P2 away from Belinsky. Enter as well Tim Tramnitz, who now starts to verge up on his former teammate at Trident. They were partners together in the same team. Tramnitz since moving to RACE GP. They start to gather this time on Rafael Kamara as they head in towards turn one. Kamara tries to cover the pair off as they head in towards turns 1 and 2. Belinsky with the tiger line. Superb defense there from the pole, but he's going to have to try and hold on, heading through Curva Grande. They head out now, once again, on yet another lap. Lap 5, this time around. Antonelli still in, well, very strong control. We can confirm that the incident at turn 8, so that involving cars number 21 and 3. So that's Alessandro Giusti. As now we see Tramnitz under pressure. Belinsky dropping back. Kamara holds on to second. We've got also Lorenzo Flusha coming into the mix. More dust kicked up. Tramnitz now third in this classification. Flusha now moving up to fourth. Oh, and this was the moment. It was Belinsky just dipping his toes into the gravel, heading out wide. That's what led to Rafael Kamara taking the second place spot. And this was the moment between Giusti and Giovanni Maschio. Oh no, not Giovanni Maschio. I do apologize. Matthias Zagazzetta, representing our race as well. Familiar red and white liveries, but of course unmistakably the 88 of Matthias Zagazzetta coming unstuck. Tim Tramnitz heading through the Rogier and just closes off Roman Belinsky on the outset, who loses a few places as a result. He's down to P6. Van Hoopen now up to fourth, who has gained a massive amount. The ART driver, as now the two Tridents come together now. Enter Nikhil Bora, who overtakes his teammate, heading through the curva, formerly known as the Parabolica, the Curva Alboreto. Bielinski might get a nice run here, heading down the home straight. Huge rivalries in amongst his grid order, whether you're teammates or not. And look at this as well from the RPM driver, Noah Stromstead, on debut. Starts to move himself higher and higher as he looks to try and battle off the two Premas that were sat in front of him here. And look at that, a double overtake from Noah Stromstead. The Danish F4 Wiz, the talent who was runner-up in that championship not too long ago, is now looking to rise up the order. What a serious talent this young man is. And surely a shoe-in for the future, that's for sure, here in this very championship. Fastest lap here for Rafael Kamara. Currently second at this point with a little gap here to Tim Tramnitz. Lorenzo Fluscher in fourth as well. Lawrence Van Hoopen into the mix. Enter Marcus Zaman now. He looks to try and challenge, running in deep there, Owen Tangavelu, who comes off the tarmac itself onto the off-circuit, as we're now seeing. Esteban Masson coming together with Matteo Capietto, who tries to cover off any approach. Marcus Amann now still being pursued by Sami Megatunev. Of course, both these drivers receiving penalties, different kinds of penalties though, however. 10 seconds going to Marcus Amann, and Sami Megatunev fighting back the 5 places that he originally lost. But we've got some decent racing time in already through the course of this race, a contrast to yesterday's action where we saw 3 safety cars come out onto the circuit for various different issues. Rafael Kamara, though, starting to close here on Antonelli, and the Brazilian, obviously indignant of what happened to him yesterday with the issue with the car. We're now seeing a battle as well. The MP Motorsport coming together. Victor Bernier is now starting to charge his way through and pass out of Timotur Kaharczyk. And a necessary move indeed for that young man as well. In comes Lorenzo Fluscher as he looks to try and get into the slipstream here of Tim Tramnitz. Of course, an ideal scenario here at Monza for Prema would be a 1-2-3. They could be on the cusp of achieving this. Bielinski down the inside of his teammate Nikhil Bora. Fantastic move from Bielinski. Cool, calm, as you like. A different vein about him here today and this weekend. Obviously, after the difficulties of yesterday, now starting to try and charge and battle back through. He's not alone though. Kaz Havercourt coming to join the fray. Of course, he suffered hardships as well. Puncture yesterday on the rear right tyre. As Bielinski goes defensive again against Bora. The two tridents together again. Enter Kaz Havercourt, who has a look down the inside on Nikhil Bora this time around. A car escaping to the inside. Lorenzo Fluscher with the fastest lap of the race. So I tell you what, this 1-2-3 is not out of the question. Fluscher pulling together a real steady, consistent run of laps, and the deltas are fairly minimal in between all of them here as they head down the Seraglio straight once again. Havercourt now in hot pursuit of Nikhil Bora down the straight in towards Ascari. In behind him, Owen Tangavelu and Marcus Amann, who is still right in the mix for a top 10 placement. Points on offer for everyone in the top 10. Follows the Formula One point system that you all are probably familiar with. Heading out of Ascari. Oh, look at this as well. Victor Bernier. Bernier starting to charge his way through. A car having an issue further back. And as a result, Victor Bernier managing to clamber on the opportunity. Hadrian David in the mix of it all as well. Of course, he was 16th place coming into Ascari at that point as well. Bernier going defensive. David swarming all over the back of him here as well. Michael Belov, in fact, was the one swarming in behind Hadrian David. Further back, I'm not sure where he ended up after all this, but currently sits in behind Meyer Werk. I'm looking around, I can see Bernier, in fact, sorry, it's Belov in 30th, just in behind those two, Pierre-Alexandre Provost, and then we've got side-by-side action heading through. Once again, turns 1 and 2. Two Tridents trying to hold back the tirade here, as there we see more cars coming into scraps. Bernier again under pressure as Giusti comes into strike, of course, the winner from yesterday. But look at the gap the Premas have left now. Tramnitz also trying to gap Lorenzo Fluscher, and you can just see exactly what he's trying to do. He's already nestled together the fastest lap. Enter now Sami Megatunev on Marcus Amann, tries to go in deep. Amann gets spooked, runs off wide, heading out to the Rogier. As they now look to muster their way in towards Lesmo 1. We've got a big battle as well happening further down as we see certainly the Kick Motorsport car looking to bring a charge here this time, as well as they head through the next right-hander. Enter a Santalock as well as we head back to the front end. Meyer Werk right in the midst of it. Of course, that was Esteban Masson we saw as well, squabbling. Have a look at this lap comparison as well. Rafael Camara, the faster driver. So now we see Marcus Amand once again under pressure. Got a swarm of tridents in behind. Owen Tangavello and Nikhil Bora being part of this. And Sami Megatunev, who's had an extraordinary charge here, obviously knows that there's a lot on the line. Matteo Capietto also part of this move. Now remember, Capietto and Megatunev were both part of the scrap yesterday that led to the incident. Now this was the RPM car running wide, which led to it being slow, and we did see the Kick Motorsport car then eventually pass it. As now we see them run down now towards turn 1. Still Antonelli out in front. The gap now between the two leaders is down to 6th, now to 0.4 of a second. As they head through turns 1 and 2, another little look here from Noah Stromstead, not afraid to put the big moves in. Sami Megatunev now going side by side. As they run wheel to wheel, I think Noah Stromstead might have come unstuck there slightly. As they head through now the first sector. Levente Ravesh as well further up. Stromstead, incidentally, setting the fastest lap of the race as well. So there you have it. The pace is behind this young man in the RPM car. Incidentally, it wasn't Stromstead battling with Megatunev on that occasion. It was indeed Matteo Capietto coming through turns 1 and 2. Fastest lap for Noah Stromstead. 1:48 flat. It's a very, very decent time in race trim as well, as we see the cars venture their way down the Seraglio Straight. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, 4/10 now in front. Trying to marshal this gap now. Lorenzo Flusha trying to bring himself into the scrap, with Tim Tramnitz currently in between them here. The top 4. Of course, we all know about the scrap between RSGP and Prema. Over the years, both teams have been successful here at Monza in this very championship. Look at Noah Stromstead, though, bringing himself into the mix here. I'm sure Keith Donegan would love to have him in this team after this performance. I mean, for a driver to come in for the first time of asking, rookie as well, adapting to this car, here into this kind of a championship that's ultra competitive, it really is a statement display here from Noah Stromstead as they head down the straight once again. Andrea Kimi Antonelli leads them down once again. 12 minutes to go here in the race. Rafael Camara, I'm sure, would prefer to see his car all draped in red in front after suffering the failure that he had yesterday that led to him pretty much retiring from the session. The Brazilian was unfortunate after achieving that pole position. And after all that, it brought Camara level in terms of poles until this morning, when Andrea Kimi Antonelli would take his 4th pole position this season. There was a conglomerate of 4 cars sharing 3 poles after Camara's success in qualifying yesterday. But since then, Antonelli has broken the streak. And there's now 4 poles under his name now, as we see the 2 Premas coming through the first chicane at the Rettifilio. But unperturbed here, Rafael Camara, still intent on trying to close down on his teammate. We loop back to the inter-team scraps here. Of course, all the drivers fighting for their places in the world of motorsport, and naturally every single one of them sheer talents here and amongst this grid now, as we take a look at Adrian David, who's trying to close the gap further up. We allude to his successes as well in the past. Remember, he was part of the RSGP team only last season and the year before that too, where of course he would take victory at this very circuit under the RSGP banner. Isaac Hadjar did exactly the same on the same weekend in race 2 on that occasion. But Prema looking to make it all about the Italian team here at the Italian circuit, with Antonelli and Camara dominant here with 10 minutes and 20 still to go. Antonelli dodging and weaving, trying to break the toe that Camara has got. This is a statement of intent. This goes to show that Camara is intent on fighting. Antonelli trying to defend the place, cuts it into the inside. Brazilian, Rafael Camara to the outside now as he enters turn 1. Still though, Antonelli, slick under braking, manages to move his way through. Hold position as they head through towards the Curva Grande. Camara has to wait in behind Elise Finero. Tramnitz, I'm sure, would want them to scrap even more so he can bring himself into the mix of this fight as well. Lorenzo Flusha, who whilst he was behind that of Tramnitz and hot on his heels, has lost a little bit of time to that, as now in comes Kamara again into the Rogier chicane, heading in towards turn 5. Kamara going in tight, and they still run wheel to wheel on the outset of the corner. The second chicane on this circuit, on this lap 11, but still Antonelli round the outside of the first Lesmo holds position. A fantastic dogfight between two Prema drivers here at a circuit that they know and love so much, not to mention about so much success. Kamara, though, the faster driver in the last 3 laps, chopping at that wood, nipping into that delta. Serralio straight up next. Antonelli determined to prevent a Kamara overtake as they head down in towards the next chicane of the Ascari. Very fast pace, foot to the floor as they make their way through this dogged left and right and through towards the final straight on this lap before they enter the home straight on the next lap, that being lap 12. And Antonelli once again dodging and weaving, trying to break the delta. Tramnitz also trying to follow suit in behind with Flusha, who's also trying to close up the delta. They come in now towards the curve. Alboreto hugging in deep now. Antonelli, who runs now the car out a little wider so he can then get back onto the throttle, foot stamping to the floor. Kamara though getting a lovely run as well. Stromstead also getting a nice run on Lawrence Van Hoopen, but have a look at Kamara. Look at how close he is. There's a huge chance here, maybe an opportunity for the push to pass. Antonelli squeezing him to the inside as they look to go wheel to wheel still. Kamara with the tiger line heading in towards turn 1, which will surely be a disadvantage here for Antonelli. It's Rafael Kamara who takes the lead here at Monza, and with 8 minutes still to go, the Italian driver chasing an Italian victory here for an Italian team here at the Temple of Speed is now looking and asking for yet another challenge. Now down into second place as we now capture another moment. And on this occasion, heading into a spin. Oh! Big collision. Tom Leben, unfortunately, coming a cropper, and also Pierre-Alexandre Provost as well, losing out, heading through the second Lesmo. They dipped into the gravel, losing traction, and then clattering into the barrier. And the safety car, with 7 minutes and 30 still to go, is now back out onto the circuit. And this is a great chance for Lorenzo Flusha, because it will bring the cars closer together. There is still 7 minutes and 20. As to whether we'll get any more racing laps, we'll have to wait and see. But this has been a thrilling race so far, and will be one of Rafael Kamara's most memorable victories, should he be able to pull this off. An exceptional performance by both Prema drivers, and great to see that they're showing their abilities to race. The challenge for the championship is still not out of the question for Kamara. If he keeps on putting his best foot forward, he is certainly giving a great account. And ripped something out of the car as well. I think that might have been a bit of visor tear off there that he's just taken off. Obviously, trips into the gravel trap can, of course, lead to dust getting kicked up and covering the visor. There is the moment Pierre-Alexandre Provost ended up onto the grass, and the Frenchman then, taking evasive action, Tom Leben, whilst he did avoid Provost, he actually he approached the barrier, and unfortunately, that damage is going to be less than kind to you. It's not meant to be a soft landing when you meet those barriers, but they are very effective. But what a race. 6 minutes now to go, still in the safety car conditions. We have got confirmation that the car number 28, that of Pierre-Alexandre Provost at turn 7, the incident will be investigated after the race. So strap yourselves in, folks. We're going to be in for one hellacious ride here at Monza. Kamara out in front, Andrea Kimi Antonelli in second, Tramnitz in third, Flusha in behind in fourth, Noah Stromstead managing to get past Lawrence Van Hoopen for that 5th place just before the safety car, and now sits in front of the ART. Tom Leben out of the car, which is great to see. The marshals doing a superb job, and looks like they got the fire extinguisher out as well, so maybe a little spark or something was showing on the back of the car, but on hand with the necessary equipment to manage the situation. The marshals doing a stellar job. We now see them make their way around the Lesmo. Noah Stromstead, I tell you what a rookie performance this is. We've seen quite a few great, well, vastly well-performing rookies. I mean, we've seen, obviously, with Noah Stromstead, we've got Martini Stenshorn, who's been challenging Andrea Kimi Antonelli all season long. Confirmation, we've got a red flag as well. Race control have raised a red flag on the timing screen here, so the cars will come back in. So that does mean we will have, I believe, racing laps. This is certainly a statement from the race director, I believe, at this point. I don't think they're necessarily going to bring an end to the race as such. Whether they'll have a restart, I'm not quite sure. But a red flag bringing an end to proceedings, at least for now. And we will get confirmation very soon, folks, as to whether we will get the race restarted again. Obviously, the car is still stuck at that portion of the straight, heading out into the Seraglio Straits, and it does take a little bit of time for the marshals to clear that, and it would work that much faster, I can imagine, if the cars aren't going around the track. But a red flag has been called here, so the cars will make their way into the pit lane. Here's a replay of the issue. And Pierre-Alexandre Provost, who ventured into the gravel on the outset of Lesmo 2. Like I said, barely missing him as well. Tom Leben, whilst I will say he was fortunate in missing him, meeting the barrier, I'm sure was something he wished didn't happen, but nonetheless, nothing he can necessarily do about that. And as you can see, the red flags now being waved here by the stewards, and the safety car will lead them through. And we've got confirmation, no restart at all through this race. So this will be the result. Rafael Camara is your race winner. The race will not restart. And Andrea Kimi Antonelli will come home in second. A move that was necessary for Rafael Camara after the heartbreak from yesterday. He can now taste victory this time, and what a way to do it. A fantastic run heading down towards turn 1. And there will not be an Antonelli victory here at Monza, but Prema will enjoy 2 cars on the podium here in race 2. Tim Tramnitz will take a stunning 3rd place. In fact, no, they've changed the results. So my guess, they've gone back to the previous lap before the red flag. So Andrea Kimi Antonelli is the race winner. The timing screen has just been adjusted on my screen. They've gone back the lap previous before the red flag was called. Camara is now in second. Antonelli is your victor. So there we have it. Take nothing away from Rafael Camara. It was a stunning display from both drivers. And as you can see, Kimi, whilst he did not park in P1, he'll have it rolled in there instead. A victory for Antonelli here at Italy. Whilst Camara did pull off the overtake heading in towards turn 1 because of the red flag, going back a lap previous, instead deemed by race control. It's Andrea Kimi Antonelli who takes victory here at the Italian circuit of Monza. And he'll enjoy this one, I'm sure. He'll leap out the car and celebrate. It will be a 4th race win to add to his locker in a quest for the title. 25 points with Martinius Stenschel not scoring. That's huge. But I think he would have known that Camara gave a great account as well. In terms for the result, both Premas, regardless, achieving P1 and P2. Kimi removes his helmet, and there we have it. I think Camara will be a little disappointed because he did make the move in great fashion. Race ending after 11 laps here at the Autodromo Internazionale di Monza. 25 points going the way of Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Tim Tramnitz came home in 3rd, though, defending the place against Lorenzo Flusha, who attempted to make it a Prema 1, 2, and 3. Tim Tramnitz denying them that pleasure here at Italy. Rafael Camara, despite overtaking Andrea Kimi Antonelli prior to the red flag, going back a lap previous, meant that Andrea Kimi Antonelli is a race winner, and he will celebrate a 4th race win of the season. So the members of the public watching on in the grandstands, we'll take you through the highlights of this very dramatic race yet again here at Monza. Andrea Kimi Antonelli got a very, very good start. Santiago Ramos got swallowed up whilst he looked like he had a good run. Was met with the forces of Tim Tramnitz as he made his way through. Roman Belinsky also had a tricky start. Rafael Camara, though, did not wait around, managed to certainly try and muster in everything he had. Belinsky tried to come straight back at him, wasn't able to do so. Plethora of cars making their way off circuit, crossing over turns 1 and 2, and then heading through towards Curva Grande. There were squabbles happening. Sami Megatunov was right in the thick of the action as well, trying to elevate his placing in the standing order. As now we saw cars then traipsing off. That was Rafael Camara who made his way through the Rogier chicane, through the escape road, after running it slightly deep. Santiago Ramos would hold position against that of Roman Belinsky as well. This was the moment between that of Joshua Dirksen, who retired after coming together with Martini Stenshorn, who as a result would have to come into the pits. We got a safety car and then a restart, getting us back underway. Andrea Kimi Antonelli would lead us down towards turn 1 with Santiago Ramos in hot pursuit, but coming together with Roman Belinsky, the slightest touch, pivoting the Mexican's car, heading through turns 1 and 2, and he would have to get himself going again, but unfortunately missing out on that podium placing. We would then see more squabbling as well. Belinsky making a little error as he dipped his toes into the gravel on the outset of Curva Alboreto. And in place, we then saw Rafael Camara spring into action. Tim Tramnitz would do the same. Camara would then attack his teammate heading down in towards turn 1. This looked like it had given Camara the race win. He hugged it in tight, kept the tiger line, and with a slight lock-up in his front right, managed to cultivate a P1 position off the back of that jump in towards turn 1. We then saw a moment that led to the very causation of the red flag. Of course, Pierre-Alexandre Provost dipping into the gravel as well at the second Lesmo. Tom Levin, whilst taking evasive action, steamed into the barrier. And both drivers, unfortunately, given that contact, given the issues around that section of the circuit, would lead to safety car conditions and later the red flag, which would crown Andrea Kimi Antonelli a race winner here at the Temple of Speed, and one that surely he will savour. And certainly a better ending to the weekend here for the Prema team, who will enjoy a first and second, with Tim Tramnitz then taking third place on the podium for our race GP. So there we have it, folks. We're going to be now ushering the drivers onto the podium. And a great moment as well for the Prema team. Tim Tramnitz will step up into podium position 3, holding back Lorenzo Flusha, who looked to be threatening towards the tail end of the race. Unfortunately, wasn't able to bring it back. A thumbs up there from Tim as well. Lovely group they have behind him as well. Family in full support. His father, Jürgen, as well, pushing his career. Rafael Camara, second on the podium. And then top step goes to this man. The Italian wins at Italy. It's Andrea Kimi Antonelli, who will enjoy the success here once again. And a thumbs up, what this could mean for the championship. The Prema team as well can celebrate a first and second. Wonderful occasion for the team again. And the winning rookie, Noah Stromstead, running out of superlatives to say about this young man, has had a brilliant weekend, and this is only the first time we've seen him. And I'm sure we'll see him again very soon in this series. Third place trophy going to Tim Tramnitz. A great performance as well for him. Second place trophy will go to Rafael Camara, the Brazilian, who notches together yet another podium on the board. 5th podium this season. And Andrea Kimi Antonelli not just celebrating a 9th podium this season, but a 4th victory to add to his locker. Equals Martini Stenshorn's record of 4 race wins this season. The Prema team as well celebrating and lifting their own trophy aloft as well. And Noah Stromstead, the winning rookie, who'd have thought, brand new to the series this weekend, and he'll celebrate this one without a shadow of a doubt. And we now have the Italian national anthem. Well, folks, Andrea Kimi Antonelli celebrating yet another race win, and with 2 rounds now left to go, we take a trip to Zandvoort and Hockenheim in a matter of weeks. Join us next time at Zandvoort when we go racing next in the Formula Regional European Championship by Alpine. Goodbye.